Welcome to rSlash Relationship Advice, where OP's grandparents walk in on her getting spanked by her boyfriend. Hi, I'm going crazy with this. I have a bad feeling in my gut and I'm completely creeped out by my boyfriend's dad, but I'm not sure if I'm thinking too much. I could be completely wrong, and maybe I'm making a big deal out of nothing, but please read and tell me what you think. Please. I don't know what else to do. I'll write everything down, and it might be long, but please read. I really need some help. I don't want to accuse someone for no reason. My boyfriend is an essential worker and is not home most of the time. My boyfriend is not close to his dad. We've been dating for 2 years, and I've never met his dad. He grew up with his stepfather and mom, and I've only met them. His bio dad cheated on his mom multiple times and was absent throughout his childhood. His bio dad only contacted him a year ago and has been trying to have a relationship with him since then. During quarantine, his bio dad insisted that we come live with him for a while because he lives alone and it'll be helpful. My boyfriend agreed and we've been quarantining with his dad for almost 2 months now. Boyfriend's dad is a little creepy and he's really scaring me. He looked like a decent man at first, but lately I'm scared to even go near him, especially when my boyfriend's not home. His dad has been trying to ask me weird things. Initially, I thought he was just trying to be friendly. His questions were normal, like, "How long have you been dating for?" or "How is your relationship with my son? What do your parents do?" etc. But over time, he started asking weird stuff and making random comments, like, "Is my son satisfying you sexually? How's your sex life? You look like you're very submissive in bed. I love submissive girls," etc. I honestly thought he was joking, and I used to nervously laugh and answer him. I thought he would stop, but he would just laugh along with me and ask more questions. He told me that he's really good at pleasing young girls, even if they're a bit inexperienced. He offered to give me some tips or show me. I was able to politely decline, but he wouldn't back off. He also just stares at me all the time, like without blinking. It's just this creepy, unblinking stare. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. It scares the bejesus out of me. A few days ago, I was taking a nap in my room and he just came into my room and sat on the chair. When I woke up, it was like I was inside a horror movie. He was just sitting in the chair staring at me. I asked him what he was doing and he said he was looking for a book in my shelf. He uses that excuse a lot and comes into my room and rummages through the shelf for no reason. I feel like it's just an excuse to talk to me and ask me weird things. He never touches me usually, but he grabbed my butt jokingly yesterday. He laughed and joked I had a nice butt and walked away like it was nothing. I had no idea how to react, and I just stood there for like 15 minutes because I had no idea what to do and it was so awkward. He's getting creepier and creepier as days pass, and he keeps making jokes and comments about how he was a very experienced older man and he could teach me a lot of things if I would just cooperate. He loudly says that he's very curious about how me and my boyfriend passionately hug. He always laughs, and I honestly have no idea if he's joking or serious. I got really upset at something he said last week, something about me and my boyfriend being incompatible. I got really angry because I thought he was serious. He apologized very quickly and told me it was a joke. He would never say something like that. It was sarcasm, and he looked so remorseful that I felt bad and I apologized. I'm so confused and paranoid, and I have no idea what to do. Please tell me if this is me taking a joke too literally or if it's really serious. I feel so stupid. I'm a timid person and I have terrible anxiety, and this is really stressing me out. I don't want to jump to conclusions and ruin my boyfriend and dad's relationship. They seem to be getting along lately, and I feel like if I say anything, I'll destroy their newly budding relationship. OP, you need to listen to me very carefully. This is grooming behavior. You're being groomed. This guy is constantly pushing the boundary to see what he can get away with, and every time he pushes it a little bit more. You need to get out of this house yesterday. Run, do not walk to the nearest exit, and don't look back. Also, your boyfriend definitely needs to know what type of man his father is. Our next Reddit post is some throwaway outrider. My 39-year-old husband wants to kick our 17-year-old son out as soon as he graduates. And I'm not so sure I agree. Our son is a senior at the moment, but he's expected to be graduating this year. He'll be turning 18 in August, and that's when my husband wants to kick him out. He's persistent in his beliefs and unwavering that he wants him to spread his wings and handle life on his own. That also means we won't be giving him any sort of financial aid, etc. It's not as if our son is lazy. He's a very hard worker and spends most of his time cracking the books or at after-school football practice. But he wanted to hold off on college just until he can get a good idea of what he wants. Personally, I found it very mature of him to want to do that, but my husband disagrees and thinks it's a sign of him being lazy and immature. We've been arguing non-stop. My argument is, as long as he's working and helping out, what's the harm in him staying? Why should one be expected to abandon their kids the moment they've become adults? He's our only child, our baby. I want him to leave when he's ready. Why push him out so soon? I sort of feel that as a mother, I've failed if I'm abandoning him so soon when he isn't ready. Down in the comments, the Scarlet Guard made the perfect response. I have a close friend whose parents did this to him after his first year of college. Completely shut off all financial aid or even communication with him, saying that it was for his own good. 4 years later, someone who used to be the smartest and most hardworking person I knew is working as a pizza delivery driver and other odd jobs just to make ends meet. He lives in a sucky apartment in the worst part of town. This is a guy who was the top of his class and voted most likely to become successful. If you want your son to have a good life, help him. That spreading his wings philosophy is BS and, in my opinion, something that lazy parents use to get rid of their kids. Children are a lifelong commitment and investment, not something to be discarded after 18 years. Yeah, I agree. Trying to survive on your own as an 18-year-old is harder now than it's ever been. So I can definitely understand what your husband is trying to accomplish and that you want to keep him happy, but he's just absolutely wrong here. I'm a 25-year-old female, and my grandparents walked in on me getting spanked by my 28-year-old boyfriend. I was raised by my grandparents and gave them a key to my place for emergencies. Well, my grandma gets really worried if you don't reply to her text in an hour. This specific day was the first day I saw my boyfriend in weeks because he had to go abroad for work and we wanted a bit of alone time. We put our phones on silent so we wouldn't be disturbed. Apparently, my grandma wanted me to pick something up for her and got worried when I didn't pick up the phone or respond to her text messages for a few hours. She decided to come over to my apartment with my grandpa since she was worried and use the emergency key. When they walked in, I was splayed over my boyfriend's lap and we were both buck naked. Since we're the only people that live in the apartment, we do whatever we want, whenever we want. This time on the couch. Which meant that my boyfriend's hand hovering over my bare butt was the first thing my grandparents saw when they walked in. I've never seen two people back out of an apartment so quickly in my life. My grandma still giggles nervously when she talks to me, and my grandpa won't make eye contact with me when we FaceTime. How do I make this less awkward? A talk about my passionate hugging preferences is not one that I want to have with the people that raised me. OP, I wouldn't worry about it. I feel like most people have had someone walk in on them. It's embarrassing, it's awkward, but eventually you just get over it. Alternatively, you could start barging in on your grandparents to catch them in the act and even the scores. Definitely not advice I would personally recommend, but hey, it's an option. I'm a 20-year-old girl, and I think my 30-year-old brother's kid, who's 13, is a psychopath or something. I'm staying with my parents for quarantine. I live alone 8 hours away, and I don't have many friends. I'm asthmatic, and I don't have anyone to help me in case of emergency, so I'm back with my parents for the pandemic. My brother was a teen dad, and he's been married for about 6 years. They have 2 children together. One is 13, and the other's a 6-year-old girl. My brother and sister-in-law are here too, and I'm beginning to suspect that my brother's kid is a psychopath. I'm exaggerating. Maybe not a psychopath, but something is definitely wrong with him. My brother's not a bad person, but he changed since he met my sister-in-law, so we don't see them often these days. My sister-in-law doesn't like us, especially me. I'm bisexual and I have a girlfriend, and sister-in-law is against it. She constantly makes comments about it and is usually catty towards me. Her daughter is lovely and we get along well when sister-in-law isn't looking. She doesn't let her daughter come near me in case I rape her because I like girls. Whatever. I don't particularly like kids anyway, but I have to say her daughter is a smart little girl. I honestly wonder if she's adopted sometimes because she's not at all like her parents and brother. Anyway, back to the topic. My brother's 13-year-old son is rude, obnoxious, and weird. He constantly parades into my room and rubbages through my things. He stole my underwear and bra and doesn't listen to me. He came into my room and actually cut my hair while I was sleeping. I woke up to see my head looking like a rat ate it. It wasn't much, but he cut my bangs and I looked like an idiot. I got so angry and I cried so hard. And sister-in-law made a comment that I was overreacting. It's quarantine, no one will see it. It'll grow back. F that. He came into my room and cut my hair with scissors. Doesn't that make her worry as his mother? The kid steals a lot. He stole my earphones, clothes, my painting supplies, etc. And when I confront him about it, he says he didn't take it. When I search his room and find it, he says it's his and not mine. How can a woman's bra be his? That's right, it's his girlfriend's. There's always some excuse. The kid is always rude to me and constantly makes homophobic and mean comments about me and my girlfriend. I can't even come out of my room without hearing something hurtful. He's always asking me if I know what a real man's member feels like. His comments are always weirdly sexual, but I feel like he's just repeating sister-in-law's words. I'm sick and tired of fighting about this with my sister-in-law and brother. My brother always has some kind of excuse. He's a kid, he's immature, he's young. Boys will be boys. I've heard it all. The truth is, his mother is a monster. The kid is also rude to his sister. He steals her food and shoves her when he's angry, but I've only seen it once or twice. As I've mentioned above, I'm asthmatic. I have 2 inhalers in case I ever lose one. My attacks aren't that frequent, but it does happen. I've used my inhaler in front of him a few times, and I know that he knows what it's used for. He actually stole my inhalers. He stole my new inhaler and went through my things and stole the second inhaler as well. When I had an asthma attack, I couldn't find my inhaler anywhere. I freaked out and I was literally gasping for breath. My mom had to search his room for my inhaler. I finally got it, but he didn't even look remorseful. He called me a freak and went back to playing video games like it was nothing. My mom yelled at him, but my sister-in-law said God was punishing me for my sins. What the F? It was her son, not God. What is wrong with her? What's wrong with her son? She dismisses everything her son does to me as it's God's way of punishing you. What can I do in this situation? What can I do to survive the rest of quarantine with him? He's turning into a criminal or robber or a murderer. I don't know. I'm sorry for the rant. I'm angry and baffled. I have to deal with this kid and listen to homophobic garbage every day and also suffer without seeing my girlfriend. I feel like I'm losing my sanity. Please give me any advice you can. Thank you. OP, let me be clear about this. Your number one priority is to get out of the house. This is not a safe environment, and if he keeps stealing your inhaler, you could actually die. If you can't leave because of the quarantine or whatever circumstances, then your second priority needs to be putting a lock on your bedroom door ASAP. Make sure it's a lock with only one key that you have on your person at all times. And now that we've got the important thing out of the way, I don't think the kid's a psychopath. I think he's just an entitled kid. His parents don't punish him, so he just does whatever he wants. And on top of that, I would bet my YouTube channel that his mother is actively encouraging it behind your back. I wouldn't be surprised if she actively tells him what to do and then rewards him for it afterwards. So overall, I think the best thing you can do is to cut your sister-in-law and nephew out of your life. Go live with your girlfriend or get an apartment by yourself or something because you're just not safe there. Our next Reddit post is from Throwaway Seaweed. So I'm a 22-year-old girl living independently. Before I get into it, I just want to give a bit of backstory. I was adopted as a baby by my adoptive parents and raised believing that my bio dad abandoned me when he found out my bio mom was pregnant, and that my bio mom gave me up because she was too young for a baby. I had a hard childhood as my parents never wanted to discuss my adoption and would get very uncomfortable if I brought it up, and sometimes very angry and start shouting if I talked about finding out more about my biological family, and would always say things like, "Aren't we enough? They abandoned you and we raised you." My adoptive dad also struggled with anger issues and would yell at me a lot, so we have a strained relationship, but he tries to stay close. My adoptive mom is always calling me and wanting to stay in my life as well. They're nice, but can be angry and guilt trip me a lot into doing what they want. Now, when I was 18, I decided I want to find out more about my biological family, and I searched for them using some documents I found, plus the help of my aunt. I did find my biological dad, which confused me as they said he abandoned me and didn't want anything to do with me. I told my parents and they screamed at me and scared me so much and told me that my bio mom put whatever name she could think of on my birth certificate and that he did abandon me and that I was horrible for doing this behind their backs and that they should be enough. They made me promise to never reach out and that he wasn't my bio dad. I did what they said and didn't contact him as I believed them. Well, when I was 20, I decided to look him up again and found his Facebook and saw that he posted birthday posts on my birthday wishing his daughter a happy birthday, and a few other posts about birth parents. This felt like enough information, plus his pictures that it was him, and I reached out. He was overjoyed and very excited and emotional to talk. After texting back and forth with him, skirting questions about the adoption, we decided to meet in person as he didn't live that far away. When we met up, it was very emotional and we talked for hours. He eventually told me that he wasn't told he had a child and that he found out that he did after the adoption. He petitioned for a paternity test and it was positive, but they didn't give him custody as I was 13 months old at that point. He was heartbroken and tried to set up visitation, but my adoptive parents denied him, and that was that. I felt so betrayed and disgusted with my adoptive parents and feel like they kept me from my bio dad. I don't know how to move past this. I also found out who my bio mom is, but she passed away a few years ago due to suicide. My bio dad said that she was forced into the adoption by her parents and that she would have loved to keep me. I've been so upset and heartbroken ever since finding all this out. I decided to confront my parents with this information and they at first denied it and told me he just wanted money. He never asked me for money and all he wants is a relationship. But eventually my mom broke and said that they raised me first and that they wanted a baby for so long after dealing with infertility and they didn't want to lose me. They also aren't supportive of the relationship with my bio dad. I'm unsure now how to move forward. I've met my bio dad's wife and their 2 kids, 13 and 10-year-old boys, who have embraced me into their family and are both lovely people. My adoptive parents are constantly calling and leaving either rude messages or guilting me and making me feel bad for doing this. I don't know what to do. I can't get over all these feelings of being taken and kidnapped and denied a relationship with my bio dad. My extended adoptive family have reached out to call me names and tell me what a horrible person I am as well. OP, your adoptive family sounds really toxic and abusive. They deceived you for your entire life and are now emotionally manipulating you. Regardless of what you decide in this, whether you decide to go with your bio family or your adoptive family, you need to take steps to protect yourself from their abusive behavior. That being said, I think it's totally normal to want to know your biological parents. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it, no matter how much your adoptive family is trying to make you think otherwise. Also, down in the comments, a couple of people have suggested getting a counselor who specializes in adoption, and I strongly agree with this. That was r/slash relationship advice, and if you like this video then hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.